got to kick it off with a killer to grab attention. Then you got to take it up a notch.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us.
Who are you?
I'm Shiva, the god of death.
Cells. Interlinked.
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
Welcome to Debaser, a film podcast. I'm Jared Rusk, and I'm joined by my co-host Will.
I was too taken aback by you not saying folks.
I dropped the folks today.
You did, and
It's not a folksy episode.
It threw me off like hard. Sorry.
On this show, we explore both new and familiar movies as we attempt to analyze and interpret them, all in an effort to debase the films and ourselves. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing good, man.
Doing all right?
I was almost at a happy point while watching this movie, and then you pointed out to me there's 25 minutes left.
We knew it was going to go south.
Yeah. So what are we talking about tonight?
Well, Will, I'm glad you asked. We're talking about the card counter.
I never imagined myself as someone suited to a life of incarceration. As a boy, I was afraid of confined spaces. I feared elevators. When I was old enough, I just wanted to get in the car, roll the windows, and drive wherever my eyes would take me. I was an American kid. Confinement of any kind was terrifying to me. So, to my surprise, having been sentenced to 10 years in prison, I found I adjusted quite well. I liked the routine. I liked the regimen. Same activities, same time, every day. The same toothbrush, the same clothes, same toilet, same stale sweat, stale smoke, stale bodies, stale cooking, stale farts. Same conversations. The faces change, but not much. No choice. I found that I liked reading books. I'd never read a book before. Not all the way through. I found a life for myself that had been beyond my imagination. It was in prison I learned to count cards.
The 2021 film.
Yes.
Written and directed by Paul Schrader? Was it written?
That's correct.
Was it
yes.
written? Yeah, okay.
Written and directed by Paul Schrader, who, previously wrote Taxi Driver and wrote and directed First Reformed that we've previously covered.
Yes.
This was his most recent movie until Master Gardener, which is out right now in theaters.
Correct.
Limited theaters, I should say, because we have not
can't
been able
find
to
it
watch
anywhere.
it. It's not playing anywhere within an hour's drive of us.
It's not close to us at all. You know what? Hold on. I would like to say I could probably give you a review of The Master Gardener right now. A lonely man chronicles the inner workings of his mind and has a plucky sidekick that he picks up to try to help, but then things go south.
Well, it's a love interest in this one, I believe, from the trailer.
Whatever.
And he has a dark past that he's trying to atone for.
That's true.
But he can't quite bring himself to feel, relieved of his sins.
And he probably has like a room that's devoid of everything. And also...
Oh, he lives a very simple and pious life, I'm
Yep.
sure.
And there's like a glass of whiskey within arm's reach at every single moment.
Yeah, they're all alcoholics, it seems. Yeah.
And that's The Master Gardener. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Where do we even begin with this one?
Yeah, let's run through the plot real fast.
Yeah.
So the movie centers on William Tell.
William Tell of the famous shooting an arrow on top of your head,
right.
Your kid's head. William Tell.
But William Tell is played by Oscar Isaac, and he is a card counter, the eponymous card counter.
Yes.
And he learned this trick while in prison. He served an 8.5-year stint, which is initially not explained why. But we come to learn that he is a veteran of the armed services, and he was sentenced to prison for torture.
War crimes.
Yeah. Do you remember Abu Ghraib, where a bunch of photographs came out? We were like in middle school when this happened, but a bunch of photographs came out of American soldiers like torturing people.
Yeah, I still vividly remember the lady standing next to a pile of naked
with like a cigarette and pointing at
Afghanis,
the guys,
and like she's smiling and having a good time,
So this movie essentially follows like one of the people that was, one of the soldiers that was in those photos, and they went to prison, served their time, and then got out, and then they just never mentally recovered from it. So that's essentially Oscar Isaac's character in this, William Tell. So he's now running small card games at casinos where he, plays blackjack and Texas Hold'em poker, where he makes enough to make a living, but not enough to get noticed. He likes to be anonymous.
He mostly plays blackjack.
Right.
The poker comes in later. He
gets a proposition to become a poker player later. Yeah. One day he's approached by Ty Sheridan, plays Kirk
with a C.
Kirk with a C. Who tells him that he intends to torture and kill a character played by Willem Dafoe, who was the
ringleader.
A person that was in charge of the prison. I don't think warden is the right word, but he was the one that was teaching all the soldiers how to torture.
Yeah, he was a private military contractor that was brought in to...
Right, yeah, that's right, because he keeps pointing out that he was a civilian.
Yeah, he was a civilian, and so he was, in a way, untouchable. He could do crimes on foreign soil and not be held accountable.
Right, that's why he escaped prosecution. So
Oscar Isaac takes it upon himself to take Ty Sheridan under his wing and try to show him a different... He
realizes this is a bad idea. Yeah. So Ty Sheridan was the son of one of the soldiers that Oscar Isaac served with, and he was a tortured man who
tortured people,
beat his wife and his kid, and then ended up shooting himself. Mm-hmm. And so now Ty Sheridan is an adult, barely, and has decided he's going to get revenge on Willem Dafoe's character because of what he did to his dad and now to him.
He doesn't
through
think
generational
that
trauma.
He doesn't think that it's fair that Willem Dafoe's character is
escaped prosecution,
living it big. He's shelling out for security programs.
Right, he's like a spokesperson for a big, military contractor.
Yeah, he came back home and is making good money, and Ty Sheridan doesn't feel that that's fair.
And so Oscar Isaac is trying to talk him out of this, and eventually he finds out that he's got some debt from college and never graduated,
and his mom's got debt as well, credit card debt,
and they're estranged.
Yeah,
Ty Sheridan doesn't want to see her, so Oscar Isaac decides to take up Tiffany Haddish's character, who plays Lolinda, who is trying to put him in her stable, which is a group of poker players who are successful enough that they can be backed by wealthy donors, and then they can enter higher stakes tournaments with money that they wouldn't otherwise have and earn more. Oscar decides to do this reluctantly so that he can raise money to give to Ty Sheridan so that he can start his life over, essentially, and reunite with his mom, go back to college, and start over fresh. But
of course, this is a Paul Schrader film,
so things don't go so well. Towards the end of the movie, Oscar Isaac pulls Ty Sheridan aside and says, "Listen, I know you want to leave, and I know you still want to torture and kill Willem Dafoe, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you enough money to pay off all your debts, to pay off your mom's debts, and to start your life over." And he pulls him into his hotel room, which is set up like a torture chamber, and is essentially threatening to torture him if he doesn't agree to this. And says, all you have to do is go reunite with your mom.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah. And he's like, and if you lie to me, I'll
find you.
Yeah. And Ty Sheridan looks terrified and agrees and shakes his hand and leaves.
He even calls his mom.
Yeah, and he calls his mom, and Oscar Isaac has a recording of it, so he's very pleased. He is so pleased, in fact, that he keeps up his end of the bargain that he makes with Ty Sheridan by going and telling Tiffany Haddish's character, Lolinda, how he feels about her, and they sleep together.
Yeah, this is the first Paul Schrader film
where somebody gets laid.
Where somebody gets laid. It's great.
I mean, it's implied that somebody got laid in First Reformed because Amanda Seyfried's character was
pregnant. not
Michael got laid.
Not Father Trawler.
But of course, at the large poker tournament that Oscar Isaac's in, the World Series of Poker tournament, that's the grand finale of all of the tournaments he's been in the movie. He gets a text from Ty Sheridan's character saying,
Wish you were here.
And it's a picture of Willem Dafoe's house that we know from earlier in the movie because he's been planning to stake it out and go in there and kidnap and torture him. So Oscar Isaac is unable to focus during the game and excuses himself And
in such a funny scene, like he's very catatonic and he just like stands up real quick. I need to leave, or I need a minute, and just
Yeah.
like fucks off.
And it's clear that he is not able to perform in that game anyway.
No, he's done.
So we never get to see what comes of him and Mr. USA.
I really wanted to see that guy lose.
Yeah, I really wanted to see him beat all the other poker players that we were kind of slowly learning about throughout the course of the movie.
Yeah.
But he goes to his hotel room and then checks the news. And of course, Ty Sheridan was immediately gunned down by Willem Dafoe.
Didn't stand a fucking
and
chance.
Did not survive even entering the premises. And so Oscar Isaac takes off and confronts Willem Dafoe in his home. And
Has a torture off with Willem Dafoe,
right.
as you
forces
stated.
him at gunpoint to have a torture off where they take turns going back and forth using different torture techniques. This all happens off screen, so it's implied, but we
Yeah.
hear lots of guttural screams.
Yeah.
And then morning comes and Oscar Isaac comes stumbling out of the room covered in blood and dials 911 to report a murder.
Yeah, one of his fingers is all fucked up,
Oh,
like off the joint and shit.
And then the next scene is Oscar Isaac in prison, the same military prison that he served 8.5 years in, where he admits that he's comfortable there. He likes the routine and the regularity of it. And Tiffany Haddish has come to visit him, and they touch fingers through the glass.
For a really, really, really fucking long. It was like
we hold on the fingers for an uncomfortable length
felt like
of time.
10 minutes had gone by. I know it wasn't, but like
It felt like it.
we were both joking. Like, all right, Paul, could you wake up, sir? We need to end the film. Oh,
You need to call cut, sir.
this is both the first time either of us have watched this.
That's
film.
correct. I just missed this movie because it was like a Netflix original. It didn't really come to theaters. I think it has super limited release. So it went straight to Netflix. And then it's not even on Netflix anymore.
It's on HBO Max.
I think
found out.
HBO got the rights now. But it was a Netflix original. Yeah, it's so...
It is
what is
very
Netflix
weird.
doing? Among a million other things. They literally just this week started the new... you need to pay $8 if anyone outside of your Wi-Fi network is using your
That is
Netflix
right.
login.
That is correct.
So rip to a lot of people's Netflixes.
Not mine.
Okay. I was going to say just, we don't endorse, illegal acts on this podcast. But
yeah, don't do
maybe get a
something
VPN.
that would get you hunted down by Oscar Isaac and tortured for your
or
Netflix.
shut down by your internet service provider.
Yeah.
Maybe just, pony it for a VPN. They're cheap. It's fine.
So Jared, what did you think about this movie?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I didn't love it. I was a little disappointed with it.
Tell me your thoughts. I want to hear it.
Soundtrack was incredible. That
Yes.
score was really phenomenal.
Did you find out if the song parts were
Right. So
the guy from Radiohead?
I was getting Radiohead vibes, so I was thinking maybe this is a Johnny Greenwood score because he does a lot of incredible film scores, but it's not.
Huh. Who was it?
The soundtrack is by someone named Robert Levon Ben, and that's Ben with 2 E's.
Oh, he's
Bean?
not from here.
Well, I don't. You mean he's like an immigrant or something?
He's not from here. We gotta ship him back to one of those Scandinavian countries.
So his IMDb credits are this and one other movie that I've not heard of.
Oh, and he knocked it out of the park.
So I'm just fascinated by this man. Like I'm gonna listen to the soundtrack more.
Yeah.
because it's so good. It's a dark, synthy, very like melodic, moody,
yeah.
soundtrack score all throughout.
If you've ever played Mass Effect and
that's right.
pause the game, the music that plays in the background of Mass Effect is very similar to maybe the first third of this movie.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever listened to that soundtrack, it's the same thing essentially. It's very, very similar when it comes to the synth. But
Right.
then the soundtrack does begin to change as the film continues to go on.
There's some lighter and darker elements, but it mostly just sounds like the chromatics to me. Like it was evocative of the Drive soundtrack.
Yeah.
So the Chromatics have a really good song on that soundtrack. That's just like there's no vocals. It's just like sound effects and a bass guitar, and I think some drums, and it's incredible.
Very good.
Like it's such mood setting.
Yeah.
But then there's some very like haunting melodies, like some vocals that kind of come and go in this movie. But that was giving me the Radiohead vibes too.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not Johnny Greenwood, and I'm shocked. But it was a very good soundtrack. But yeah, the story I think is interesting, but I don't feel like anyone else is pulling it off except Oscar Isaac. Granted, he is 80%, 70% of the movie, but it's...
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I know
Yeah.
that I made comments while we were watching the movie, but I agree. It the performances from Ty Sheridan and Tiffany Haddish were very wooden, especially at the beginning of the movie. It was
especially
like,
early on. Their first scenes are rough for
Yeah.
both of them, where it's like, I was getting like, is this our first movie kind of thing?
And-
They
yeah.
get better.
they do, but like still, even at certain points, I mean, Courtney came in and like that line read was really bad.
But yeah, even she noticed it having just walked into the room. Yeah.
It almost felt like, because it was a Netflix movie, maybe certain things were rushed. Maybe they had to do things like quickly, and so they could only do so many takes. Or maybe Paul was asleep behind the camera and was like, "Yeah, that's good."
No, you're actually more right than you know.
Oh, really?
So this was filmed during the pandemic.
Obviously.
Like, it started February 2020.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And they did have to shut down for filming because someone on set tested positive,
Go
and
figure.
it almost ruined the entire movie. I think they were shut down for months. It was multiple months. And
Wow.
like Paul Schrader was pissed.
Oh, was he? Tell me he was
And
live.
he was posting about it.
He
on
was
Facebook.
He was like, "God damn
So,
COVID."
I think I've
Please tell
mentioned
me.
this previously, but he is a famous Facebook poster. He has a Facebook, his own Facebook. It's not like a public, persona account. It's just him unfiltered, where he talks about like Taylor Swift, new movies that are out. He'll talk shit about Marvel movies.
Yeah. Please tell me that he.
He was calling the studio like pussies and stuff for shutting down because of COVID.
Tell me he called it the China virus. Please tell me. he
No,
did.
no, he's not like
I know.
He's not an alt-right guy,
Yeah.
nothing like that. Yeah,
But still.
But no, he was really mad. But he posted through it, like the shutdown. He was so mad at the studio and everything.
Yeah.
But ultimately, by the end of it, he was like, "Oh, it actually gave me a lot of time to work on the film and editing before we were able to go back and finish shooting the last few scenes." Apparently, that was like minimal amount of shooting they had left to do, and that was also why he was so pissed, because there was like just a few days left of shooting that he had to
Okay.
wrap up. And I almost wonder what scenes they had to do last. Yeah,
Dude,
it didn't stand out to me in the film, so
yeah, neither for me, but like
yeah.
he couldn't have gotten any better like line reads from
They probably didn't have
two
the money because
supporting
this was
actors.
a fairly small budget movie,
right. They spent most of the money on Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, and apparently Paul Schrader doesn't like to do like Kubrickian style, like let's do 100 takes. He likes to just do a couple and then move on.
Yeah, that's so dangerous to do because like
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yeah, I think it depends on the actor and the director, because Clint Eastwood is famous for doing one take and then moving on.
really.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, as a director or as an
As
actor?
a director.
No way.
Yes, he does one take and he gets up and moves. He's like, all right, let's do it. Let's go. Next scene. Yeah.
I'm shocked by that.
Whereas, your Kubricks and there's like a million people that want to be like Kubrick that do that now.
Yeah.
But they just, David Fincher too.
Yeah, I do like his stuff.
Oh yeah, a great director. But they will grind down people to get the performance they want out of them. Whereas there are there are people that think that is a way to be a director. You know what I mean? Like, you need to be exacting. You need to have your one vision in your head, and you need to get everyone to listen to you and do it. And you will grind them down until they do what you want them to do. However, there are directors now that are like, you can just talk to your actor and tell them what you want and then work with them until you get it.
Right, that makes more sense.
Maybe it doesn't take 100 takes. Maybe it doesn't take 4 takes. You can do somewhere in the middle.
I just whenever I think about how you say like performances that are shit, I think about M. Night Shyamalan and what he did with The Last Airbender, or even Old.
So
We're not going to talk. No, we can't.
we
get
can't
hung
open that
up
can
on-
of worms,
on
but
M. Night
it's so
Shyamalan.
interesting that he puts himself in all of his movies and he's like the worst actor in them often.
Not Old.
Not in Old. I haven't seen it.
Dude,
so
Old is so bad. Anyways, continue.
Okay.
So you like the score. Some of the acting was not that good.
Right.
Oscar Isaac was good though.
Oscar Isaac was incredible.
Yeah.
Ty Sheridan felt rough in a lot of scenes,
really
and
bad.
even Tiffany Haddish in her first couple of scenes was rough. But then I
she started.
I came around on her later.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like maybe they shot chronologically, like the scenes that we see in the movie.
Yeah,
that's
she
the
got
order they were shot in,
more
and maybe
comfortable.
she got more comfortable because that's how it felt watching it.
Yeah, I agree.
But Oscar Isaac just had it fucking nailed from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
I did read that he initially was like put off by how few takes they were doing, but then he said, like, I actually found it liberating after a while because I was like, oh, I don't need to do it 1,000 times until I feel comfortable with it. I can just do it once or twice and then we can move on.
And he got it. He got in that headspace
Right.
really well.
And I think he's the kind of actor that could be suited for it, you know?
Yeah.
And with Tiffany Haddish, this is a very unusual movie for her. She's a comedic actress and she's playing a serious role in a serious film. Even though she is kind of lighthearted out of anybody in this movie, because she is laughing and joking with the characters.
She's having a good time. She's not rooted in the shit
right
like Ty and Oscar is.
But I read that when she auditioned with Paul Schrader, he was like, you know, you're playing this like a comedy. Don't, like, just play it straight. And that's how she got the part, was she like started playing it straight after reading the lines a few times. You know, as a comedic actress.
Right.
Ty Sheridan, I don't know about Ty. I didn't read anything about Ty Sheridan in
Man,
this
he
movie.
could
I
have
think people
gotten-
just didn't care.
He could have gotten anybody else, man. There's like 4 other white kids that look just like him.
Baby Driver.
Yeah,
who is, I think, like, canceled.
He's canceled.
I don't know the full extent of it and where we're at with him.
yeah. Is that Austin Butler? Wait, what?
No, that's Elvis.
Oh yeah, that's right. That you could have gotten
What is
Elvis.
his name? Because he's in West Side Story, and then all of it came out right when West Side Story was about to come out, and so
Yeah.
they just didn't put him in the ads, even though he's the male lead.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. You could have gotten the kid from Top Gun, who plays his Goose's son,
Wait,
who's in
Miles Teller, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Miles
he
Teller
would have been
great.
incredible.
I know.
He feels like a Paul Schrader actor.
Yeah, I know.
Man.
That's who
Now I'm bummed that didn't happen.
When
Yeah.
I read Ty Sheridan during the opening credits, I was like, "Oh, that's the kid from Top Gun." And then I saw his face, I was like, "No, that's the kid who looks like the guy from Top
Yeah,
Top
he
Gun."
does look like Miles Teller. He
Yeah.
does in the face a little bit.
Yeah, they've got the same phenotype, except the
Yeah.
Ty is he's a goofy looking kid. And he's not a good actor, and he hasn't been in a lot of stuff. Sorry, Ty. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let's not be too disparaging.
He made it through, man. He did it.
Well, he's playing a kid that.
He's definitely playing a dope very well.
Yeah. It's just an unfortunate character.
Yeah. This guy's hell-bent on revenge, and he's like, so when you talk about Paul Schrader and his style, right? Oscar Isaac is the reformed Paul Schrader character, the character who doesn't kill people.
He's not violent. He was.
He's found his place in the order of things.
Right.
And Ty Sheridan's character is the taxi driver /
He wants to be a Travis Bickle.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
He's young. He's lost control of his life. He's only got one thing on his mind, and that's revenge.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie is, an older, wiser person who's seen the shit, who knows how bad a human being can be, and tries to direct him away from that.
Yeah.
It was funny to like start with the movie, and sure as shit, Oscar Isaac's sitting at his fucking desk. He's got his inner monologue. He's writing in a fucking notebook. All of the things that I've come now to expect from Paul Schrader. Actually, watching this movie, I was thinking to myself, well, what was Paul into this time? What was his big gripe that made him make this movie? What do you think it was? Because
He was looking back at his life and thinking, if I could talk to myself when I was younger, like what would I try to talk myself out of? If I could tell myself, hey, don't be so self-destructive. Don't lash out at the world. Like, you have a lot to live for. You have so much time in the world. I feel like that, if anything, to take away from this film, it's that. Because I feel like that's what Oscar Isaac sees in Ty Sheridan's character. He's just like, this kid is so young and has so much potential, and he just wants to go and torture or kill a guy he's never met, and it wouldn't change the world any. Like, why even bother? Like, don't subject yourself to that violence. Don't put that violence out in the world, because we get a couple of flashbacks of him working in the prison, torturing prisoners.
Yeah,
and it's
the flashback's
awful,
the
but
first,
it's shot so well.
the first flashback is fucking awesome. It's like playing music that's kind of inspired by System of a Down.
It's playing like 80s hardcore music.
Yeah, it's in,
but it's filmed in like a stereoscopic. So if you ever tried to watch a VR video without a VR headset,
yeah, that's exactly what
that's
it
what
is.
it looks like.
Yeah.
So it's disorienting and off-putting. Everything's yellow. To
Yeah.
just be upsetting. There's shit all
Over
the
the place.
prison.
You see Ron DeSantis in one
That's right.
shot.
That's right. Ron DeSantis was there.
Yeah, he's got a dog that's barking at a person. It's kind of crazy, honestly. Like very prescient. So
Okay, if no one knows what we're talking about, apparently Ron DeSantis was
at Gitmo,
did work at Gitmo while he was in the service. In fact, there
loves-
is a man who was a prisoner there that says he remembers Ron DeSantis. Allegedly.
I've been holding on to that joke
That's
ever
good.
since.
That was good.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Prescient.
By the time this episode comes out, Ron DeSantis will have announced his presidency or his run for the presidency.
No, by the time this comes out, Ron DeSantis has already pulled himself out of the running.
Let's hope. Oh my God.
Anyways,
Have you listened to the?
yeah, I did.
It's
Today
bad.
I did. I
It's
know.
so
So good. No, dude, it's fucking amazing. And then
They were playing it on the news at work when I was in my break room, and I just was like shaking my head. I was like, "Damn!"
who is this for?
And it's like definitely somebody who you want to be known for your voice. It was an audio only Twitter space.
And he's got the nasally,
if
fucking
anything you
whiny
gotta love
voice.
about Ron DeSantis, it's his fucking voice because he has a incredible voice, right?
But yeah, that's very good. You think that Paul's having this like self-reflective thing, and I actually think that that's a really good read from this. I think that Paul stayed up too late one night watching the World Series of Poker, and
As did I.
and then the very next day, something about student loan debt was on television. He's like, oh yeah, that's a good way to. I don't actually have no idea how he sounds.
A couple of drunk.
He's like, oh yeah, that's a good fucking movie. Let's do that one. Get Oscar on the phone. Something like that. Because like, it does seem that he gets these pet problems that he hones in on, and when Oscar was bringing up the fact that he Googled what Ty Sheridan, because it's not that hard to find information on him because this kid has shown time and time again he cannot cover his footprints.
Oh, he's
at
not
all.
smart. He's not smart about anything. He was clearly going to fuck up.
Yeah.
And the fact that he didn't even do the first part of his plan when he went to get Willem Dafoe's character,
It's just,
like we weren't surprised.
Yeah.
Like we saw it coming.
Yeah, but when he was like, yeah, you've got $20,000 in student loan debt.
Mm-hmm.
And your mom's $35,000 in debt. And I was just thinking to myself, like,
And he had credit card debt too.
and he had credit card debt due.
Who among us?
I was thinking, well, I know, right? I was thinking like, oh, this is the thing that motivated Paul to start writing this movie. Maybe he was like thinking about how the common person can easily lose control of their life via debts owed to whomever.
Right.
Like $20,000. $35,000, an astronomical amount for me to think about because I've never seen that kind of money in my lifetime.
Right. Not in one time at one place. Right?
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. And to hear that you're in debt that much is unreal. Right. Case in point, when went during the movie, Oscar Isaac doesn't win one of his poker games, but at the end of it, he gets $54,000 and he has to split it with.
He comes in second place.
Yeah.
And gets $54,000 and splits it evenly with his backer Tiffany Haddish.
We're split $27K. And I was like, holy shit, $27,000 for poker? Holy fuck. I was just thinking to myself, like, what I could do with $20,000, like live very comfortably for a good couple of months, maybe even a year on that,
I mean, after taxes, that's like a average, median salary, essentially.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah. And so, like, just thinking about these giant numbers, sums of money being thrown around in this film, possibly was the catalyst for Paul to, oh, this is my next film. Let's talk about debt, poker. You know what? I'm a dark person. Torture. Let's do torture. And that's where his headspace was. Am I on the money?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
To me, and this is just conjecture, but I think he was interested in the idea of, what happened to those guys in those photos.
Oh
Abu
yeah, that's
Ghraib.
right. Yeah, he was watching Fox
Because that was
News.
a national story for weeks and weeks.
Yeah, and
I don't think any. Okay, well,
no,
we get.
one woman, the lady in that photo, absolutely.
Well, that's the point of the movie, is only the people in the photos were prosecuted.
Right,
I don't know.
right.
I don't know if that's exactly what happened in real life, but I think that's the point of what the movie is trying to say.
Yeah.
Is that none of the people, the architects or the people that were in charge or the people that were giving the orders, were punished.
No, in
or
fact,
prosecuted.
they're running for president.
And or they're still powerful figures, or they're living comfortably, because monsters die at home.
It's true.
We do get stock footage of Donald Rumsfeld smiling and laughing
Yeah,
while he's going on
right.
about this. So fuck Rumsfeld.
That's right. I forgot about that.
That was fantastic.
It was good. The whole montage was really well done. There was a lot of interesting and good shots in this movie.
Not as many as First Reformed. I think
No.
First Reformed, from beginning to end, like every frame is a painting, to quote the YouTube channel I love. But this one, there were some amazing shots, and then there were some.
He was rushed. I
Yeah.
feel like this movie was rushed.
I think COVID hurt this movie.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I wonder what it could have been if it wasn't.
I wish Master
plagued by
Gardener
production problems.
I wish Master Gardener was playing locally so that I could, because this is another movie that's made. I mean, the pandemic technically isn't over, so I'm very curious if this movie suffered at all.
I don't think the pandemic is hitting the movie industry like it once was. Like, I
Right.
think we're almost back to pre-pandemic levels.
Yeah.
As far as filming production, because I know my workplace is completely back normal. Like it never happened, even though every once in a while 3 or 4 people are all of a sudden out for a week or two, and they're not allowed to tell us why. Anyway, Will, this film. So you have not seen many Paul Schrader films. This is only your second film of his that he's directed.
Correct.
Third that he's. Well, you've seen Raging Bull before?
No, but I wanted to.
Oh, so
that's the
this
boxing movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I really wanted to see that.
I think you've only seen 3 films he's written, then
Correct.
2 on top of that.
Correct.
But this is part of a trilogy of his, and it's called the Man in the Room trilogy. Master Gardener is the final film in this trilogy. But that is why First Reformed and this.
Oh, that's why you wanted us to watch this one.
Actually, no, that was
okay.
unintentional. It's just I love First Reformed.
Yeah.
And Taxi Driver was a movie I thought would be right up your alley. And
Yeah.
it's a film that, like, every film nerd should see. Like, honestly, most people should see it, period, because it's an important movie and especially relevant now to our current political climate and just where men are generally in America.
Yeah, I know. I went on a 20-minute rant.
Exactly. And that's why I'm like, that movie was made in the 70s.
Yeah, I know.
And it could apply to so many men now. It's horrifying.
It's pretty unreal.
But
Yeah.
we already had that episode.
Yeah.
But this is
Wholesome
the
rehash.
second in a trilogy of films that Paul Schrader did called the Man in the Room trilogy, about men in rooms.
Well, clearly, men would rather be in the
But-
room than go see a therapist.
Solitary but haunted men with dark pasts.
Sure.
That are either trying to atone for their sins or at least aren't able to move on because of something that happened to them.
Right.
I wouldn't say that, Reverend Toller had any sins in First Reformed. It was just that his past had haunted him so much. His son died in Iraq, and he
Right,
felt like
yeah.
he enlisted because that's what he did and his fathers did. And,
He was holding a lot of shit.
right. And
unresolved
his marriage
shit.
was ruined. Right. And
Yeah.
it was just like he couldn't make peace with that in
Yeah.
his life. And I'm so excited to see Master Gardener, but we will revisit it when we get a chance.
Yeah, that's a couple months from now.
Yeah.
But I am excited for that too.
I think my favorite parts of this film were when we see Oscar Isaac in his hotel room, and he has a ritual where when he enters his hotel room for the first time, he opens his suitcase and brings out a bunch of large white sheets of canvas,
Yeah.
and he wraps all of the
Everything.
furniture, everything in the hotel, his lamps, the tables, the bed, the chairs, everything, with this giant white canvas, and ties it delicately with some twine. And it just gives everything this
Sterile.
beautiful but sterile and kind of haunting look. It makes it look like a kill room, honestly, like something
does.
out of this is Dexter has prepared this room to murder someone in, And it's never explained. It's just something he does in every room he stays in. And I think it's something to do with the rigidity and the sterility that he's used to in prison that he became comfortable with, because he does express that he was very comfortable in prison.
Yeah.
He
It was
liked the
regiment.
uniformity of it, the
Yeah.
regiment, having everything, just so he got used to it and he really found peace with it. And I think that's because it's the exact opposite of what was happening in the prison, and that's what fucked with him.
I was just about to say, like,
Right, because when we
it's-
see the prison, it's a mess. It's
he details the smell,
Right,
the piss and
the
the
smells,
shit and
the
the oil
sights.
and the burning.
yeah, it's awful. It's
Yeah.
just a nightmare, and so that's why the prison that he is later serving his sentence in is the complete opposite, and he's
quiet.
happy there.
Yeah.
and so that's what he tries to recreate, I think, in all of his hotel rooms.
Yeah.
Also, when he's in his hotel room, we see him writing in his journal often, and he's just reflecting on the days and his past. And he writes in his briefs, but when he goes to sleep, he is in a full suit.
Sleeps in a suit. It's so fucking goofy.
This seems like a man who is never comfortable with himself.
Clearly. Well, he is comfortable whenever he's card counting. Like, watch
or
him
in prison.
Yeah,
Honestly, he seems comfortable when he's back in prison in the end of the film too.
if you watch his face throughout the film, whenever he's like at work.
Yes.
Once again, this is another thing. Is like whenever the guy's got a purpose, he's got a little bit of a smirk on his face, unless he's like staring down another player and trying to read them. But yeah, you could see when he's in his element, it kind of shows. Like even when he's at prison at the very end to see Tiffany
Haddish.
you can look on his face. He's got just the ever so slight smirk, like, oh, this is bringing me joy.
Right. He can tell he's happy to see her.
Yeah. Whereas,
But also I think he's not smiling too much because he's like, yeah, I fucked up.
whoopsie, I did a little bit of a torture. Oopsie.
I mean, the guy deserved it, but
He did.
it's a shame that he had to throw his life away to do it.
Yeah. One thing that this movie did right at the beginning was detail how to card count, or how
That's right. We open with a scene of him explaining how card counting
Yeah,
works,
he's-
which I needed because I get the general idea, and it's
Yeah.
that so you can predict what's going to come next, the probability of what's going to come next. But he
Yeah.
really lays it out for you.
It was really cool to see when he was doing it for blackjack. And there's something that I really enjoy about media that deals with strategy and game theory. Yeah, game theory. And I wanted a little bit more of that, but obviously this movie isn't 21. Did you see 21?
No, but it's not too technical of a movie. It's more of a character examination
Yeah, it's a
because that's what Paul Schrader does.
Right, I know, and I should have kind of guessed that going in because, like,
You want the Michael Mann poker movie
yes, I do.
where you get a thorough examination
You're
by
right.
an alcoholic man who.
Well, I mean, that's what 21 was, except
Okay.
it was, instead of it being like an alcoholic, grizzled veteran, it was like a 20-year-old that was just really smart.
That's not the one with Ben Affleck.
That's
and
the one with Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But he's not like the main character.
Thinking of Rounders.
That's right.
I
yeah,
get all my poker movies.
We
mixed
talked
up.
about this actually
Yes,
last time.
we've had
we were
this
like,
conversation.
yeah, whoops. But the cursory explanation was fun. I enjoyed that. It reminded me of this, not to bring it to anime, but this anime called Kakigiri. Kakigiri is not a movie, an anime about a college dorm that instead of learning, it's all about gambling. That's all they do. They'll gamble over anything. And it's all these different games. They'll do rock, paper, scissors is like the first episode is rock, paper, scissors. And they do blackjack and other different types of Japanese games. And then like even Russian roulette at one point. One of the episodes of Russian roulette is so fucking good because they break down like different strategies and theories for every single game. There's a whole in-depth explanation of what you have to do in order to win for every single episode, and it's just like does something for me because as a war gamer, as a person who used to play a lot of Magic and plays a shit ton of Warhammer, there's game theory in anything.
Right.
Like when it comes to
You want to know what the actual strategy is.
exactly, like what do you have to do in this moment in order to win? And getting to that point is like ecstasy. When there's a scene where Oscar Isaac and Ty Sheridan are talking about the best hand Oscar Isaac had ever seen in poker. And he goes over this explanation of, this guy had these two cards in his hand, and the other guy had these two cards in his hand, and these were the cards that were showing. And all this guy needed was something to show up, and the probability of that was 2%. And so he called, hoping for that 2%, thing, and he got it.
Yeah.
It was a huge win. And it just reminded me of instances in Warhammer where there are significant disparities between two different armies. And if you bring one faction and you're very good in that faction, you'll beat your average player. But if you come up against somebody that has your hard counter, it really is no longer player skill dependent. The other person will usually win just with a mismatched army. So sometimes you had to take risks and hope for it to play out in your favor. And the way that this played out last November at the finales of of Warhammer 40K tournament, like the end of the series, essentially, this is the best of the best, right? One of the players was in a huge disadvantage, and so he knew the only way that he could win is put literally every single unit on the line and hope that he rolled higher than the other guy to go first. Because, if he did, that he could make a game state where he could not lose. And he could have, hit all of his stuff. He could have tried to play cagey, if he went second, but he knew that was a losing prospect regardless. So the best thing to do was expose everything and hope that he rolls a 6 to go first. And he did, and he won.
Damn.
By 1 point.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that is very fun and exciting, and couldn't ask for that from Paul, because I know that he does character studies and whatnot, but the glimpses of it in this film were something that I didn't realize that I needed from it. So what did you think about the poker stuff in this movie?
I thought it was interesting, but as much Poker After Dark that I've watched, and just I've actually played poker with people both in video games and in real life, I just can't get it. Like, it's fine, but the finer strategies of it just don't intrigue me. I see it all as a game of chance, or you're memorizing minutia of card draws, or I can't even remember the hands. I have to constantly look at a guide of what's a good hand, outside of the very basic ones. What is a royal flush? I never remember.
That makes sense. I mean, I don't understand poker or blackjack and any of that shit either.
Yeah.
It would be kind of cool to have it explained and then run a couple games over.
Right. But I do find myself by other filmmakers that focus more on the actual strategy of it, like your Michael Manns and such.
Yeah.
I feel like they can explain things in a way that it does pull my interest, and I'm like, oh, now I'm all in on this. But were I to get involved in it myself, no, it's fine. I can watch a film about it and then move on.
That makes sense. Did Michael Mann do a poker movie? Did he do Rounders?
No, but I feel like he could.
Oh, okay.
He's currently doing Ferrari, and then he's going to do Heat 2. So I don't know if there's a poker movie in the cards before he retires,
Yeah.
He's getting up there.
Yeah, I would say he's kind of old, isn't he?
Keep working, Michael. Please hang in there, man. We love you, dog. There was some scuttlebutt on Twitter the other day, by the way, that he supposed somebody on Twitter said that he drove past the writer's strike and didn't honk or support them and just went into the studio, and but they didn't call him up by name. They were just naming all his movies to be cute about it. And then later that day, Michael Mann shared an image on Instagram, his official Instagram, of someone with a writer's strike sign with a screen cap from one of his movies, Thief, and saying that he supports the writers on strike. And people were like, don't listen to some shithead on Twitter, man.
Yeah, never. Don't. The conjecture is silly.
Yeah, but
that actually reminds me of something that I watched recently.
What's that?
And I don't mean to take time away from Card Counter, but I think that we've
exhausted most of it.
It was a simple film.
It was fine.
Yeah, it was right.
I'm glad we saw it. It was no First Reformed, though.
No, but once again, I really do think that he spent a lot more time on that. He was able to spend a lot more time.
I agree. I think he had First Reformed in him for a long time. He put a lot of his his own life into that movie too,
Yeah.
because I know he grew up Calvinist.
That's right.
Yeah. By the way, I found out after the fact. I kind of ruminate on this.
This is our corrections corner.
Sure. Yeah. Corrections. So I mentioned how I was like, do Calvinists,
Can they have relationships or not?
right? Can they get married and such? And you were like, no, because in Catholicism you can't.
Yeah.
So in Calvinism, you can.
Okay.
Because they're the more progressive Catholics, and they were actually, one of their tenets is that, sex and marriage is not a sin. The leaders in the church should be allowed to do that and to practice what they preach, essentially.
Yeah.
And so, yes, he would be allowed to have
Okay.
relationships.
Well, buddy, it doesn't even matter because the Pope came out saying you
Well,
can
the Pope
fuck.
is famously not Calvinist.
Well, I know, but no, what
Okay.
I'm getting at is like the Pope recently, like literally recently, like
Oh.
2 days ago, I read this saying, "Yeah, go fuck."
Oh,
The Catholic,
oh.
priests are now allowed.
no kidding.
to have sex. Yes.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
It was 2 days
There's
ago.
just been so much else in the news. Too.
Yeah, I know.
Ron announced his candidacy 2 days
Ah,
ago,
and
and that's all I care about.
He's to the moon, baby. Diamond hands. Anyway, so I watched a documentary on HBO. Oh, sorry, not HBO Max.
Max, the place to go for HBO.
That's right. Is that really the fucking
That's
tagline?
the fucking.
stupid.
It's so.
Anyways, I watched a documentary on the Bama Rush. Do you know what that is? The Alabama Rush thing, the sorority thing. The Rush Weekend is.
I know what Rush Week is.
Okay, so it's that. It's based on. It's,
but specifically in Alabama.
yeah.
Okay.
Because during the pandemic, when sororities were rushing, a lot of them were posting on TikTok, and so people stuck in their homes were like,
Crowds of people when no one was seeing more than like their families at the time.
"It's Alabama, baby." But yeah, so they, people got engrossed with it, and like legends were born, and oh my God, is Chelsea gonna make it into Kappa Theta or what? Just some dumb.
Oh,
bullshit.
it became like a
People
reality
watching
drama. Essentially,
Yeah,
that
but
people were
it was
following.
actually
Okay.
real. These people were
Right,
actually
right.
So this documentarian, I think her name is Diana Felter. Fuck, dude, I can't remember her fucking name. Anyways, she decided to document it in 2022, and she chose 4 girls and kind of documented their hopes and fears and anxieties. Is called Rush Week, or Bama Rush rather, and document their hopes, fears, anxieties, and all those things, and their process to get into
flight.
There it is.
Flight.
It's flights.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. And kind of shine a light on the process and also some of the controversies in the Alabama University. And it's kind of crazy that halfway through them doing the documentary, people were starting rumors that HBO or Netflix or Hulu or whom have you is trying to expose how Rush Week works to the masses and like take down this thing called The Machine, which is some stupid like inner political body for the college campus. And so all these people rushed to aid this stupid fucking sorority thing and try to stop the documentary from being made. And so one of the girls who was being followed stops filming with them, like immediately stops dealing with them. And it was really interesting because like,
And this is all chronicled in the documentary.
this is all chronicled in the documentary.
That's crazy because like that's the worst thing that can happen to a documentary is because they're never the subject of the documentary, or the documentary itself is never supposed to be a subject of the film.
Yep.
Like the people doing the actual, like the crew, the interviewers, the camera, they're never supposed to be part of it. I know. Well, that's at least one theory of
Right.
documentary filmmaking.
It was
anyway.
really interesting because one of the kickers is Mrs. Fleet. She has alopecia. She had it ever since she was like 4 years old. So she has like no hair. She's got no eyebrows.
And she's on camera in the
Yeah,
in the
she
film?
does. Well, she does talk about. She shares some of her musings.
So she's the subject of the film too.
I think she had to pivot and make herself a part of the
Right.
a subject of the film because she stands out in Alabama. She makes a point that's like nobody I've been here for months. Nobody looks like me. And so at a certain, and she shares like her anxieties growing up as a girl with no hair and having to wear wigs and kind of put on a mask to fit in society, much like how these girls have to purchase these certain brands and wear certain things in order to make themselves look like they're a part of the sorority before they even are a part of the sorority. And she just has like a lot of mirrored images and musings on what's happening that we're watching in her own life. And she goes on about how at a certain point when she was 14, she decided no more. She's not being this fake person any longer because she was like terrified somebody was going to find out that she was wearing a wig. And she even dealt with bullying. You know, she had a girl corner her and say like, I know you're hiding something. I know you're wearing a, and it's like when you're a kid, you don't want your insecurities, being blasted out to everybody.
The most important thing in the world too, is you're not able to see outside of that, that's, yeah.
But she decided to take back, how do you say, not take back her life, to own it.
Yeah.
And so she chose from age 14 to not wear a wig ever again. But because the documentary was exposed and she was still following around one girl who was rushing, she has to don the wig again in order to look like everybody else out there.
To be anonymous.
To be anonymous in order to finish the film.
Jesus.
And it was really well done.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. And if you are into documentaries, if you're into the human experience or anything like that, or God, if you're into sorority garbage, I would definitely check out Bama Rush on Max. Please,
Place
HBO.
to go for HBO.
Please, HBO, give me money.
please sponsor the podcast.
That'd be great. But yeah, man, that's all I got. That's the most recent thing that I've watched, other than like some anime.
I've just been playing Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
That's right. I know.
When I'm not, working around the house and stuff. It's incredible. Breath of the Wild was,
I know, one of your favorite games.
in contention for my favorite video game of all time.
Yeah, everybody keeps telling me I gotta go fucking play it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I don't know
I've
what
heard.
to tell you. I feel like if you haven't tried it by now, it's been out for
5 years?
at least 6 or 7 now.
Yeah.
Because it was 2017. So that's
Yeah.
6. We're on
Holy
6.
shit.
Yeah. It's a great time. Yeah. I
Cool.
feel like that's what everyone's doing too. And I'm just trying to dodge spoilers because everywhere you look, it's like, hey, look at this thing I made in Zelda. And I'm like, I don't have that stuff yet. Fuck. I should
Oh
have
no,
seen
did
this.
I ruin the Metal Gear for you?
No.
Okay.
No. Unless you get a Metal Gear later.
No, I don't think you do. The only thing I've ever seen people building is like torture chambers, much like the card counter, and like flaming dicks or the cock and ball sword.
Right. Yeah, that too. Have you seen the commercial that Nintendo made where it's a sad man going to work playing Zelda?
No, but I heard it's based on a true story. Or
Yeah,
it
it's
actually
based on
happened.
an Amazon review that someone in Japan left
Oh,
for
no
Breath of
shit.
the Wild. Yeah, it's a great trailer. It's like a minute long, but it's just about a guy, middle-aged going to work and just like being unhappy and like clearly being sad about how he's not a kid who like just thoroughly enjoyed video games, But then he
Yeah.
picks up Tears of the Kingdom in this ad.
Yeah.
And like it just brings such a smile to his face that he has like he's like enthusiastic again and like happy.
Okay, I'm gonna pitch Paul his next film, right? It's that, right? But he's playing the game and it's starting to finally give him some joy.
Yeah.
And then someone that is like loosely tied to the main character comes into his house and breaks a switch or whatever, and then he has to go on revenge because he realizes he hasn't talked to anybody in 3 weeks and he has to take it out on the populace.
Or he just becomes Link and decides to enter people's homes and
Starts
break their pottery
destroying
and,
their pottery.
and open chests and
But the chests are human chests. And
Oh, God.
the items that he's getting are like human organs and whatnot.
Jesus.
Paul, give me a call. I got you, baby.
In 2019, there was a film starring Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway called Serenity.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Okay, so
I haven't seen it, though.
Trailer is Matthew McConaughey is a fisherman in this small town. It's like a Cape Cod-esque town. It's just a small town in the Northeast. And all of the people in town are just very ominous and like warning him about something. and Anne Hathaway is being abused by her husband and is having an affair with Matthew McConaughey.
Okay.
And asks him to kill her husband for her because
Yeah.
he's abusing her and she wants to move on with her life from him. And she can't escape his clutches. But it feels like the whole town knows that he's been asked to do this. And they're all just like side-eyeing him and warning him. They're like, you better not do it. Like that kind of stuff. So you don't know anything else about this film?
No, I don't know anything about this fucking movie.
So Serenity... I'm going to spoil this movie.
Okay.
It's apparently not very good. So
that's
if
fine.
you want to listen, you don't need to skip this. So we find out that so Anne Hathaway has a son, right?
Sure.
And he's always playing video games.
Okay.
Well, we find out the twist of the film near the end of it.
It's everybody's a video game character?
Yes.
Oh my
Matthew
fucking
McConaughey
God.
is the protagonist in a video game that Anne Hathaway's son has built. Anne Hathaway's son is the real life player and creator of the game because his mom is being abused by his dad.
Yeah.
And he wants to create an escape, and in doing so, like, builds the courage to kill his dad.
Okay, cool, man. It kind of sounds like Bandersnatch, that Black Mirror
That
interactive.
was that Black Mirror, where you choose the
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a cool concept. It wasn't good.
No, by all accounts, it was bad.
Who
But
directed
the
that?
twist was just, that's a good question. But the twist was just, I remember everyone
that-
was like, you have to know what the twist in this movie is.
Let's put that guy on blast.
Stephen Knight,
I don't know who that is.
he wrote screenplays for Closed Circuit, Dirty Pretty Things, Eastern Promises. Oh, I like Eastern Promises. And also wrote and directed Locke and Hummingbird.
Nope, don't know what any of that shit is.
Oh, I love Locke. Wow. That's the film with Tom Hardy, where he is the only character on screen. It is just him in a car driving to a hospital. And
That's the whole movie?
Yes, the whole movie. And he has phone conversations on his Bluetooth in the car with people in his life. Okay, this sounds awful on paper.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Well,
and
I
Tom
mean,
Hardy,
if you're doing a good performance, like I can.
well, it's Tom
understand how
Hardy.
it'd be
So
yeah.
you know it's a good time.
I mean, he's good to look at. He's a good-looking guy.
I don't want to tell you anything else about it.
Just in case we watch it in the next 2 years.
Because as the premise unfolds, it's incredible. Like you're gripped. You know, it's so good.
Okay.
But Tom Hardy thoroughly like takes you
Commits.
along. It's
Yeah.
so good. He's incredible.
Kind of reminds me of Buried.
Is that Ryan Reynolds
in a
is
box?
in a coffin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty good.
I think I heard that. Was it like a Redbox movie too?
I think it might have been because
Yeah.
I remember. I think I rented it.
I think it was like Redbox funded it because they started to get into that before they went under,
It was on.
essentially.
It was. I remember it was on a streaming service where I rented it
Yeah.
because it was around that time that all that
Right.
shit happened. Yeah, I enjoyed that movie. It was good.
Yeah. Well, do you want to set up next month, Will?
Hell yeah! Oh boy, let me get into character. And you know what's awesome is it's raining and thundering out right now. So,
Good.
hey listener, do you like gators? Do you like Miami? Do you like living in the hottest state in the United States? Well, you're gonna love next month because we're doing Florida month, baby. We're gonna watch a bunch of movies that take place in the Sunshine State, and we're gonna have fun little facts about where they take place,
Where they were filmed.
where they were filmed. We're gonna talk about the movie, obviously, and you know it's gonna be a great time. I know all of us have great Florida pride.
That's right, Will. We love Florida.
We
and
love
it's
Florida.
Definitely the best state in the news right now for all good things.
That's right, baby. We have gators. We have orange juice.
We have bad politics. We have bad politicians. And we
have Disney. We have cocaine. We have
bath salts.
bath salts. We've got zombies. Come on down to Florida, where you can fucking die. The place where you go
That's
to die.
right. In fact, it doesn't hurt that most of these are like, you know, thrillers or horror movies, but
It's true.
But yeah, we're going to be covering films that are set in Florida, and we've narrowed it down to The Florida Project,
Yes.
Crawl, Spring Breakers,
Yes.
and Pain and Gain.
Pain and Gain.
I'm excited for all of these.
I'm super excited. Now, which ones on that list have you seen?
I'm glad you asked because I was going to tell you anyway.
Okay.
I've only
Thank you, Jared. I appreciate that.
fuck?
You know, we do need to go back to watching movies and then talking right afterwards because
I feel flustered after having done it for Card Counter now.
we do get silly, man. All right, sorry.
The only movie on this list I've seen is Spring Breakers, which is wild. I'm
That is
excited
pretty
for you
crazy.
to watch that. And I'm excited to
looking
watch
forward
it again because, like, honestly, what a trip it was watching it when it came out.
I'm hoping to let's just do that one first.
Okay.
I would love to start with Crawl, but let's just do that one first because I have not seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen Crawl and the Florida Project.
Okay. But you've never seen Pain and Gain.
No, but I'm not a big Michael Bay person.
Well, no. And you know, how much do you know about Spring Breakers?
You told me one of the
Franco.
DeFrancos, yes, the Franco kids, one of the Franco kids.
Not DeFranco.
Sorry, I know, not Philip DeFranco. That's my bad. One of the Franco kids tells or convinces like 4 girls to steal shit from rich people in Miami, right?
Spring Break.
Yeah,
Spring Break forever. That'll make sense to you. After
Okay,
you see the
great,
film.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. The month of June it's
All
gonna be
Florida.
a hot, rainy, humid, stanky ass month. And to celebrate, we're gonna be watching all films set in Florida.
That's right, baby.
That's right. A theme month.
A theme month.
Our first one.
The first
The
one.
first theme month on Debaser.
Oh my god. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that.
So starting June 7th
That's right. Yeah.
will be the first Florida month. Well, folks, thank you for listening. You can find our show on social media by searching for @DebaserPod. I'm Jared Rusk, and you can find me on Twitter @JaredSRusk or on Instagram @solid_slack. Will, where can people find you, and would you like to plug anything?
You can kind of find me on Instagram at pocket_infinity. Please like my pictures of my models. That'd be great. Get me up to 1,000 followers, and then Games
Hell yeah.
Workshop will actually let me sign an NDA and get shit early from them.
Maybe have another income stream finally, too.
That'd be cool.
I was asked the other day why I don't ever plug anything, and it's because the only thing I have to plug is this podcast, baby. Tell
listen-
people about this podcast, everybody.
Yeah, please tell anybody who likes movies about depressing Paul Schrader, movies about Ninja, and Diane Word.
Listen, we did Puss in Boots, okay?
We did do Puss
we
in
do
Boots.
different movies.
Yeah. If you like the show and you think somebody else would like the show, tell them, please.
Tell them they're doing a Florida month.
We're
You should
talking-
listen, because I think 90% of our listeners are based in Florida at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And Florida's very cool. A good
Very-
place.
Always a good time.
A bunch of people are coming here.
Yep. All with good intentions. No one's trying to leave.
No one's trying to leave. Why would you? Disney, Gator, Oranges,
Hurricanes.
NASA, Miami.
Tampa.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening. Please tell your friends, families, your neighbors, your dog, even call up your county commissioner and tell them, hey, this show, very cool. All right, thank you guys.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Debaser is hosted by Will Taylor and Jared Rusk. The podcast is edited and produced by Jared Rusk. Want to email the show? Send it to podcast@debaserpod.com. Want to help us out? Please leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice, especially Apple Podcasts. Tell a friend to listen to Debaser. Thank you for listening, and take care out there.